Let's go on to the first race of the day, the Grade 1 Ballymore Novices Hurdle, which is run over 2 miles 5. Champ is 3-1 for the champion trainer. Battleoverdoyen is 5-1. Classical Dream, who Nev mentioned up earlier, in the Supreme as well, 7-1. Brewing Up a Storm 11, City Island 11s, Honeysuckle 12s, Angel's Breath 14s, along with Beakstown. Let's go straight in with Champ, Dave Neverson. And I was surprised that Nicky Henderson's only won this race once, actually. Silent Sig back in 2012. He's going to Champ in 2019. He won the Challow, which people have obviously talked about as a trial which hasn't thrown up winners of the Challow Hurdle. They've talked about the fact that this horse is a 7-year-old. You've got to go back 20 years for the last horse over the age of 6 to win this. Is he going to defy a couple of stats?
I think he'll defy the stats, yeah. I'm a big fan, and we picked up this race just before he started going well again, because as they turned into the straight in a very competitive Challow, lots of last time out winners in it before, there was a moment that it looked like he might be in trouble, but I thought he did this quite well. I think Barry Geraghty's just keen to just hold him together, and then he ends up doing what he's done in all his races to me, just quitting away in good style. I think he's a really good horse.
Getaway Trump, Kateson, Brewing Up a Storm also in there. Martin, he's Champ. His name to be good. He's from the family of Best Mate. Is he the one to beat?
I'm slightly worried about the track for him. He's never been to Cheltenham before. The one time that he ran on a relatively stiff track over hurdles was Ascot, and he looked like beating Vindication and just got outstayed. He's a very free-going horse, and I'd just worry about him in that regard. I don't doubt his ability at all, but I've just got my suspicion is that we might see him shaping well, not quite getting home at Cheltenham, and then going to Aintree and showing how good he is there.
Last year the race was won by Sam Crow for Jigginstown of Gordon Elliott. This time around it's Battleoverdoyen, who Dave Yates in the space of 6 weeks absolutely rocketed through, breaking the maiden, then going into a maiden hurdle and winning a Grade 1 as well. This was that. I have to say, I'm quite sweet on one that was in behind him. That was Sam's Profile that day, who finished second. You can see in the yellow colours and about 4th there. But the case for Battleoverdoyen?
I think it's a pretty strong one. He's come a long way in a very short space of time. It's only the end of November when he won his bumper at Punchestown. 2 starts, 1 at Navan, and then steps up to Grade 1 level here. This is the Lawlers of Naas Novice Hurdle, and he steps up and does the job pretty well. You can see here he's a pretty strong galloping sort. He still looks quite rough-hewn. I think there's more to come from him. I would like to say one thing about Champ and the Challow, and that's the horses that were directly behind Getaway Trump and Kateson haven't exactly advertised the form subsequently, for all that Brewing Up a Storm probably one that would have given Birchdale a fight at Cheltenham when he came down at the last.
I really do like that second, Sam's Profile, who didn't get much of a run and ran on quite well. He's only a 5-year-old, and Mouse Morris has won the race with First Lieutenant, and Rule the World, who went on to win the Grand National, was second to the new one. Backed him each way at bigger prices. Back to Battleoverdoyen. He's not got that much experience. They could have got him more at the Dublin Racing Festival. They chose not to, though, because of the close proximity of those runs.
Yeah, he looks like a horse that's going to stay well. I think if the ground comes up soft, it'll increase his chance. I suspect he is a sort of 3-miler in the making, really. He does need to improve. That form last time out has hardly been franked subsequently. I'm not sure it was the strongest of races, so I think he does need to improve a little bit. Could be a race that throws up a shock. Classical Dream will have a good chance, I think, if he goes for this race and not the Supreme.
The other thing with that race as well is that the 2 Mullins horses, City Island and Tornado Fly, are both disappointed. They were the horses around Battleoverdoyen in the market, weren't they? And obviously you can't blame the winner for that, but there's no getting away from the fact that one was pulled up and the other finished last.
Martin, I'll just stick with you. Another Naas Novice Hurdle Grand National winning trainer, Martin Brassel, responsible for number 6 Valverde 15 or so years ago. City Island, how interesting is this horse?
Yeah, well, he's kind of a little bit come from left field. I think there's been money for him at big prices. You can see the name of the race there, an auction novice hurdle, which it kind of tells you that it's not a strong race. He was 1 to 5 to get the job done this day, so he did what he had to do, won very easily. His best piece of form came prior to this at Leopardstown when he won a maiden over Christmas there, and he beat Dallas de Picton, who's a a useful horse of Gordon Elliott's. But again, he's got plenty of improvement to find. I think he's going to have to do it. This is much more style over substance, and he'd probably have to improve the best part of a stone, I would say, to be in the places even for a Ballymore.
I think it's a really intriguing contest. I really
He
do.
jumps well, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he jumps very well.
You've got Champ at the top. The Irish contingent, really interesting bunch. I've also had a few quid on Ben Pauling's horse at bigger odds, Bright Forecast, who almost ran off the track at Haydock, had the form with a very good horse in front of him. You know, Ben Pauling knows what it takes to win this particular race. Well, I did it with Willoughby Court at a price a couple of years ago. I think you can get 25s at the moment. But Champ's in there, 3-1. Battleoverdoyen 5s. The Irish coming next. Classical Dreams 7-1. Brewing Up a Storm, who took that fall, of course, at Cheltenham. Birchdale involved that day. Plenty's been talked about that race. Who would have won it?
Well, I thought Brewing Up a Storm would have won.
Yeah, I thought Brewing Up a Storm. Just looking at that, I think Champ is the horse for the day. I think Battleoverdoyen is a knock for next year's RSA, from what I can see. He just looks to be a 3-mile chaser, absolutely in the making. And I think he just ran about a little bit too much against speedier types. I think he'll struggle.